Thank you so much for clicking on my video. And if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to talk about a few hot topics regarding the Sussexes and a few updates in the news. And this week, I wanted to keep it a little bit light. This is the last week of the year, and I wanted to have a good time. Plus, we had some pretty heavy hitting topics earlier this week. So I wanted to give us a little break and share a few fun articles, as well as an article written by Omid Scobie. You will notice that my mouth is not matching up with my words, and that's because when I downloaded the video, it got stripped. The audio got stripped. There was no way to retrieve it, and that's okay because I can just do a voiceover and we can get into these topics. So let's get into it. Once again, thank you so much for clicking on my video. If you have not already, feel free to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on that notification bell. If you are interested in becoming a member, hit that join button. And if you want to see what I'm doing over on Patreon, use the link in the description box to head on over and join. I want to say a big hello to the friend circle. I'm going to say a very big hello to the Patreon members, and I'm going to curtsy to the Royal Court, my 3 membership groups. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and for all that you do, as well as anyone watching the video. So today I have a few topics that I wanted to get into regarding the Sussexes, and I wanted to keep it light, but still very interesting. We're going to start with this article I found in Cafe Mom, and they talk about how Kay Jewelers hired Prince Harry and Meghan Markle lookalikes for a holiday commercial. I thought this was really funny because I can understand why this is happening because they are a very popular couple. So it starts by saying, if it feels like Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have taken over your TV, it's because they have, kind of. At first glance, the couple appears to be starring in a new holiday ad for Kay Jewelers. No, the American royals haven't fallen on hard times. Instead, it seems Kay is capitalizing on the recent success of Netflix's Harry and Meghan docuseries by hiring Sussex doppelgangers for its latest commercial. And it starts with this paragraph that says, every kiss begins with H&M. A new ad for Kay's Love Entwined diamond necklace appears to feature the retired royals in various stages of a cozy embrace, given the lighting, how the actors are captured by the cameras, and what we recently witnessed of the way Harry and Meghan interact in their private lives thanks to the Netflix series. It's hard not to think we're seeing the real deal in the commercial. But it seems the jeweler brand has simply hired some very convincing lookalikes. Although this is very clever marketing, I get why they're doing it. It's also, yes, the docuseries is very popular, but they themselves are a very popular couple. So trying to find people that look like them, that is definitely going to draw the eye. Now, I don't know how ethical that is. I just kind of feel like if you have to try and skirt by and just barely make it within the margins, it's best to just redo it or to do it with good integrity. I just don't believe in trying to trick people. But just because I don't agree with it doesn't mean I don't understand it. Harry and Meghan are very popular. I've actually noticed this across entertainment as a whole. I'm noticing that a lot of shows and movies and just entertainment in general and commercials, they're casting Black women and white men. And I think that has a lot more to do with, yes, inclusivity, but I think it has a lot more to do with the popularity of Harry and Meghan than people would like to admit. Because previously, if they wanted to do diversity or whatever, they would just do a Black couple and a white couple and an Asian couple and a Hispanic couple. And now I'm noticing they are mixing them up, which is not a problem because that is reflective of what's going on in real life. And it's about time that they started to acknowledge that families look different and couples look different. And, not everybody's going to look the same. But I would actually like to see them take it up a notch. I would like to see more people cast in entertainment who have disabilities, and the show itself or the content itself isn't all about their disability, because people who have disabilities like a hearing aid or glasses or a wheelchair or leg braces or what have you, these people have regular lives that don't actually center their disability. Their disability is not the center focus of their life. Their life is the focus. And I would like to see more content that showed people with, with a cleft lip or with a head brace on, not a narcoleptic, but an epileptic person who wears a head brace. Or I would just like to see more diversity integrated in entertainment anyway, outside of just racial diversity. I would even like to see age diversity where it's like a younger man and an older woman. Obviously, everybody of age. Like, I'm not being weird, but I'm saying, like, I would like to see, entertainment reflect more of what's going on in real life in a healthy manner and not just make it about race. But I will say, I have seen an uptick in entertainment showing a Black woman and a white man. I've actually seen that it seems like entertainment, but commercials particularly do not put Black people together anymore. And I've noticed it over the last year, especially. Like, if there's a Black man, then he is with a non-Black woman. If there's a Black woman in a commercial, she is with a non-Black man. It's not 100% across the board, but I'm noticing like the majority of commercials mix it up. And I personally think the popularity of interracial couples like Serena and is it Alex Ohanian, and Meghan and Harry, and then you've got Emma Weymouth and her husband. It's just kind of what's happening right now, and I think entertainment is reflecting that, and Kay Jeweler is trying to cash in. It's not a problem, it's just interesting to me. So I wanted to talk about this story that I found on KSL.com, and it was regarding a Utah business that supplied one of the onesies that was shown on the Harry and Meghan Netflix docuseries, and they literally blew up practically overnight. And this is a very small business, so the story is very cute, but I am excited to see where her business grows and what she does with it and to see her advancement. So I will be keeping an eye on this business. But again, I found this article in KSL.com, and the title is Harry and Meghan Series Brings Influx of Orders to Utah Small Business. This is written by Britt Johnson. And it starts with one Utah business owner has an influx of orders after one of her personalized onesies was worn by a royal baby on the Harry and Meghan Netflix docuseries. Owner of About Another, Sabrina Bryan, makes personalized baby onesies from her Utah home and had no idea that one order filled back in May was going to be worn by the couple's baby Lilibet in the series. Brian said her sister spotted the onesie on the show, which led to a spike in business. Quote, "It looked very familiar, so I looked at my previous orders and I indeed did do the onesie. So we all kind of just freaked out a little bit." Once she confirmed it, Brian shared the news on her Instagram, very smart Sabrina, which led to even more attention. Quote, "Someone who had already been following me sent it to this Instagram account who had like 35,000 followers, and they just ID Meghan Markle stuff. And so they ID'd it as mine and tagged me, and that's when I started getting a lot of responses." She said her inbox has been blowing up over the past few days, and a magazine in the UK even interviewed her. She's been getting inquiries from across the world, but hasn't figured out how to ship her products overseas yet. Someone with expertise in this, reach out to her to offer her a little bit of help. E-commerce can be a little tricky, but once you get it down and you get your rhythm and once you get your bearings about you, it can be an extremely fun, rewarding, and very profitable business. She is working from home, and she is her only employee. So if you have anything to offer her about shipping overseas, I know ShipStation, they do a really great job with working with multiple carriers at once to fulfill many, different needs. I used to use ShipStation. Also, I forgot the other one. It starts with an N. There's so many different types of systems you can use that are very easy to do. They're not super complex, and it's great to help with people who are just not these logistics experts. So feel free to check that out. Again, she said she does not ship to Europe yet, and she's going to have to look into that for sure. Brian said she may have to limit her orders to keep demand at bay. She is the only employee at her company and runs the business from her home. Quote, "I just do it from my house. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and so my poor fingers are going to be very busy in the next few weeks." I thought this was a very sweet story. I thought it was super cute, and I'm really glad to hear that her business is booming, and it's a welcome boom. It's not like, yes, she did kind of say that she was a little overwhelmed, but she didn't say that she was not happy with the influx. She was really excited about her interview in the UK, and I don't want her to miss out on all that really great opportunity if that's what she wants and it's in alignment with what her needs are. So hopefully she gets the overseas shipping figured out, and we get to see more of About Another stuff all over the babies of the world. All right, so for this next story, I found this in InStyle.com, and the title is Prince Harry already has his next big sit down interview scheduled. Clear your calendars on January 8th for the Spare promo tour. Now, this was written by Christopher Liu, and it was published on December 21st. It starts with when Prince Harry and Meghan Markle sat down with Oprah Winfrey, the world was enamored by the chance to get a first-hand account of what happened behind the gilded gates of Buckingham Palace. And next year, royal fans will get another chance at a high-profile sit-down with a Sussex. Prince Harry will be chatting with Anderson Cooper ahead of the release of his memoir, Spare, and people are already expecting major bombshells. The news comes after Harry and Meghan, the Sussexes' Netflix docuseries wrapped, and as Harry prepares to promote Spare in the new year. Of course, the firm didn't make any official statement about the show and hasn't commented about Harry's memoir yet. Sources close to the family did mention that they're girding their loins for what may come out in the wake of the book's release, however. Quote, there are fears Harry will use the CNN interview to take aim at the royals and give viewers a preview of some of the more dramatic claims that are to come in the book. The Mirror added that Harry and Cooper will appear on CBS's 60 Minutes on January 8th. Quote, Mr. Cooper has won Harry's trust. A source told the Daily Mail, so take the rest of this paragraph with a grain of salt, and added a few details for anyone not familiar with the longtime news show. Quote, this would be a coup for Mr. Cooper, and it fits well with Harry's campaign to promote mental health. It is a primetime Sunday show which hosts foreign leaders and presidents. It's the one that all the politicians and decision makers watch. Okay, so that's not so bad. That's pretty accurate. Cooper is no stranger to covering the royals, but his connections with Harry run a little deeper. In the past, Cooper told viewers that, quote, I was at the royal wedding covering it for CNN. Our correspondent Max Foster said, quote, you should wave at Harry because Harry is going to look up at the bright lights and I bet he'll wave at you. The carriage makes a turn. I start waving. Harry looks up at the tower. We make eye contact and he waves. I almost died. Cooper also covered the war in Afghanistan. Harry completed 2 tours with the British Army in the country. Both Harry and Cooper also advocate for mental health. Cooper has shared his experience with unaliving oneself, I can't say that word on YouTube, as his brother Carter died by, quote, unaliving himself. Harry spoke to Vogue about his experiences with anxiety and panic attacks and co-produced a show about mental health with Oprah called The Me You Can't See. So since we did mention unaliving yourself prevention, I can't say the word, but I think I can say it in this context. If you or someone you know is considering suicide, please contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255. I'm going to say it one more time just to be safe. 1-800-273-8255. And you can text the word strength, 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 to the crisis text line at 741-741. You can also go to suicidepreventionlifeline.org for resources. Please don't wait until it's too late. I would rather you do it and feel like you don't necessarily need it, but it's not too bad to check out than to wait too late. So I'm excited about this sit down with Anderson Cooper. If you are not familiar with Anderson Cooper, I encourage you to check out his content. He is pretty straightforward. He is pretty straight-laced and he is pretty even keel. I actually really enjoy Anderson Cooper. I don't really know of any scandals that he's been in. Something might be slipping my mind, but if he's been in some scandals or something that we should be aware of, please leave it in the comment section or in the live chat if you're watching the premiere of this video. But Anderson Cooper is pretty straight-laced. I actually really like Anderson Cooper's reporting style. He's very direct. He doesn't give a lot of inflection. He keeps it pretty even keel. And that's actually what I prefer when it comes to like news and coverage of serious topics. I'm not a big fan of the dramatics. I don't really like anybody when you're talking about serious matters who can't rein it in. It's just distracting, and I feel like it undermines like the impact of the point. So if you're talking about something serious, I don't really want a super theatrical reporter. And Anderson Cooper is one of those people who can really keep it pretty straight laced. He also does a great job of asking great questions, but allowing the speaker to speak. He does not interrupt a lot. Some of my favorite interviewers can lean into interrupting their subject a lot, and it is so distracting. It's one of the reasons why I can't watch radio shows that do interviews, like the Breakfast Club. I used to be a fan, but like the more famous the cast of the Breakfast Club got, the more their and not antics, because they did a pretty great job for the most part, but the more their questions and their place on the show was almost eclipsing the celebrities they would have on. And so I would find that they took more time to speak than some of their guests. And especially Charlemagne, although I love that he encourages his guests to keep going by giving like, oh, okay, like it's prodding them to continue and let them know you're listening. It is distracting to do that into a mic, because what the listener hears is just overlap, and it's distracting. So all I'm saying is Anderson Cooper does an amazing job of asking questions and allowing the speaker to speak. And don't kill me on this. But you want to know who else does a wonderful job of like asking great questions and letting the speaker speak and just interviewing and still being fun? Like, this person can actually do like nuanced interviewing style. Like, he doesn't have to go straight black and white. He can actually have inflection, and he's very fun to watch, and he asks funny questions, and he can be funny when appropriate. Is Desus. Desus. If you're not familiar with him, he used to have a podcast called The Bodega Boys with his friend Mero, Kid Mero. And they used to have a show on Vice, and then they had a show on Showtime called Desus and Mero. And I was a huge fan of them both, but I always liked Desus a lot more. And he is really great at interviewing. And he and Mero actually interviewed Anderson Cooper and who else was it? It was Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen. So I recommend checking them out if you are not familiar, but I am excited to hear Prince Harry talk about Spare. We get an idea of what's going to be in Spare. And again, I could just be being naive, but I actually don't think it's going to be salacious. I know people are kind of gearing up for more salaciousness, but I kind of want to just bring us back to middle ground here. If someone telling their life story offends you, if someone telling their experiences makes you worry about what they might say about you, I encourage you to reflect on what you've done. Own it and reach out to that person to make amends, not because they're going to expose you, but because you obviously feel in some way, shape, or form that something that you've done or said or interacted with them in some way was inappropriate. They may have taken umbrage with that, and they might reveal their feelings or experience with you. And if you know that before anything is even published or anything has even been publicized, then you yourself know that you were likely wrong in that interaction. And I encourage you to take the necessary road. I won't even say the high road, because sharing your experience is the high road, but take the necessary road to redemption and admit your wrongs. Whoever that might hit, whatever dog is about to holler, if you feel like something in Spare is going to offend you, I recommend you make amends with whatever the hell you did that's got you so worried. Because we haven't even heard what's in the book yet, and so many people are freaking out. That tells me that guilty conscience is real loud. So I feel, y'all know me, I feel like everybody has the right to tell their story. I feel like everybody has the right to tell their truth. And if you do not like the way that you are remembered, you need to behave differently. I'm a firm believer in you cannot come out here and act like a fool in this world and be mean and be surly and be angry and be conniving and shisty and shady. And then when you pass, or when someone decides to recount the past, you want them to remember you as this benevolent character who was just all good and all positive and all giving and all generous. No, people are going to remember you as you were. So if you want to be remembered as this sweet person, as this loving person, as this positive person, be that. And be it for real. Don't adopt a character. Be that. Become that. Embrace that. So I'm excited to see what they talk about. Anderson Cooper is not a salacious gossip rag. He is a serious, hard-hitting journalist and anchor, and I'm excited to see what he's going to talk about. And I'm excited to hear Harry's point of view, especially on this promo tour for Spare, because January 10th, y'all are not going to see me. I'm going to be reading Spare. And I'm going to be documenting my feelings on Spare as I make my way through the book. So I wanted to share this article that I found in Yahoo News, written by the one and only Omid Scobie. And I really enjoy his writing. I enjoy all of his content, but I really enjoy his writing. I also especially love his Twitter because he be lighting their asses up over on Twitter, okay? But I found this in Yahoo News. And here's the thing about Omid Scobie articles. I always share them when I find them, but I do not read them full out on my channel. I have gotten a few complaints about it, and so when I get a complaint, I like to address it. I do not read Omid Scobie articles full out on my channel. I read them before I even talk about them full out. And when I get on my channel, I operate in a way that gives you the meat and potatoes, gives you the high points so that we can have our discussion, but I will never read it full out on my channel for the simple fact that I don't want to ruin the experience for you that I had, which is reading it full out. Omid Scobie has an amazing way with words. He is an extremely brilliant person and he is very connected. So he is very well aware of all of these relationships that we read through tabloids and we read through publication. He encounters in person. So he has a different perspective, and I find him to be a very credible person. So when he writes, I like to read it and take it in. So I don't want to take that away from you. If you're on my channel, I want you to still get a chance to have that awesome opportunity, to that awesome experience that I had by reading his article. Also, he works very hard. He is very underappreciated and he takes a lot of flack. So when he puts out these articles, I like to make sure that it gets the engagement that it deserves. I like to make sure that if you even heard about the article here, you still will click on the link to make sure that his hard work is recognized. Because if we're all communing in one space to talk about it, that doesn't give a clear picture of just how many people found interest in his article, and it undercuts the engagement that he's getting. So that's why I always link it. I will never read it full out so that you guys can have the opportunity to read it, but also to make sure that you go and engage with it directly so that it continues to promote his very hard work. So the title of this article, again, it's in yahoonews.com. It's linked in the description box below, as is all the other articles we've talked about today. And the title is, When It Comes to Race, the British Monarchy Has Proven Once Again How Toxic It Is. All right. For Camilla, it was her most important engagement since becoming the Queen Consort. Held during the United Nations 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence initiative, the royal had convened over 300 distinguished guests from a cross-section of society, all with the same goals: supporting, highlighting, advocating, and finding solutions for an end to violence faced by women and girls. For an institution that is more often associated with ribbon cutting and pomp, November 29th's reception was a moment of true substance and grit. It was almost a glimpse at how Camilla plans to continue her work in this area now that she is the wife of a monarch, and how the royal family sees its role and relevance in modern-day society. That was until the next morning. A tweet from guest and charity executive Ngozi Fulani laid bare the reality of being a minority at such an event. A snippet of a 5-minute chat with one of the late Queen's ladies-in-waiting in her newly appointed role as a lady of the household, Susan Hussey, revealed a disturbing inability to accept the Black UK-born charity boss was from Britain. The conversation, which began with the 83-year-old moving the Londoner's hair without permission to see her name badge, apparently, quickly escalated to at least 7 attempts at making the Sister Space charity founder admit where she was, quote, really from. So he walks us through that experience, which on this channel, we have talked about that encounter. We've talked about the monarchy's mistakes that led up to that encounter. And then we talked about the gross mishandling of the situation by the monarchy. He also walks us through a few other encounters where the monarchy has completely mishandled the racism issue. And I want to pause there because I just personally feel like all of this could be avoided. I am of the belief that if you do the work, if you really do the work to make sure that your value system, the value system is the foundation in which everything in your life that you do, say, or take part in is based on. And if you do the work to make sure that your value system is based on all that is good, a strong moral compass, your beliefs, your spiritual beliefs, that your value system aligns with those spiritual beliefs, but overall, What you do is for the greater good of others and yourself. You cause no harm intentionally to anyone else, and you absolutely, without question, do not oppress or abuse. When your value system, and you've done the work to make sure that your value system aligns with those morals and those rules and those guidelines, I find that you do not find yourself in situations like this. When your value system is for the greater good, when your value system is based on actual morals, hear me out, is based on morals. When your value system is based on all that is good, everything you do and say aligns with that. You don't need to walk through these things with a fine-tooth comb because it's common sense to you. If someone says they're from Britain, what is making you feel like they're lying? Well, Huzzy, it's because you're racists, because you don't actually see her as the citizen that she is, because you see her as less than because of the color of her skin. And the monarchy would have a lot fewer of these encounters if they did the work to make sure that they had their value system in alignment with actual good morals. But if they did that, then they would have to admit that they're not better than anyone else. They're humans. And then there goes their entire propaganda machine. They are not better because of their blood, their bloodline. That in and of itself is racist. The institution is racist. And so articles like this, and I'll come back to the article, but articles like this really highlight, at the end of the day, if you don't even have to do a deep dive. If you just pull back one or two layers of the pomp and circumstance and the ridiculousness, you'll realize this shit is racist. Why are you better because of your bloodline? I think all of us in the US heard that dog whistle. Every time they say it, it's like, yeah, that's what they say to promote their racism. And we can't say the word on YouTube, but a very famous mustachioed man used that same rhetoric to promote his very disgusting ideals and his lack of morals, and his tirades and his tyrannical rule led to the murder of over 6 million people of a certain group. So that bloodline shit, that doesn't rub me the right way. And I think the royal family would find that they would stop stepping in hot water if they worked on their value system and their morals, or just bothered to acquire any. So I'm going to skip down to the end of the article because I don't want to rehash anything we've talked about on here, but I also don't want to ruin the experience of actually reading Omid Scobie's words, because he has an amazing way with words. But I'm going to skip down so that we can get to the meat and potatoes, because this is what really struck with me. Omid Scobie goes on to say, ownership of the issue needs to go further than a statement and a prayer that the story will disappear quickly. It's time to reflect. No more false promises. Remember the diversity SAR. No more trying to silence those who speak up about these issues. No more boasting about championing diversity in the workplace when almost zero of the staff hired are in senior positions. Face the problems, own them, and most importantly, educate yourself. Because if King Charles truly wants to show leadership and modernize the monarchy, then acknowledging the institutional racism within it is the only way forward. Turn it into an institution that, even at its very foundations, can be anti-racist, stand for racial equality, and truly embrace and respect people from every walk of life. Otherwise, we're going to find ourselves back here again very soon. Now, again, I want to point this out. Omid Scobie published this on Yahoo News on December 2nd. Y'all all know what happened right after that. Camilla's luncheon, basically praising and ass-kissing Meghan's tabloid abusers. And then right after that, we got Joanna Weiss's nonsense. So Omid is right. And he doesn't have to be a psychic to see that there's a very clear pattern here, and the pattern is based on racism. And so that's why I wanted to highlight this article. I thought it was fantastic, but I also thought he got to the root of the issue. He did not hold back. And I'm going to be honest, as much as I love Omid Scobie's writing, and I do, I like all of his content and his reporting. I love his Twitter. I say that's my favorite place to find Omid Scobie because I know while he's there, he is taking a blowtorch of truth and lighting y'all's asses up. He does not hold back. And I'm not mad at him. There are too many people riding the coattails of the monarchy. There are too many people patting their backs and warming their shoulders, just telling them what they want to hear. You need more people who are going to say, enough is enough. And a lot of people like to chalk him up to, oh, Meghan Markle's mouthpiece, Meghan Markle's mouthpiece. But they don't do the same thing to Jeremy Clarkson, who's Camilla's mouthpiece, to Piers Morgan. I'm just going to say this. We see what you're stepping in. We see what you're laying down. We see what you're doing. You can put all these fake facades out there and, oh, well, we are very much not a racist family. Okay, that's great with your Ankara top wearing assistant next to you. One lady we've never seen before suddenly wearing braids. Like, you can do all that. But I personally think that's a slap in the face to your citizens. I think that's a slap in the face to the people who follow you and look up to you and support you, is to play in their face when we know damn well up until that moment, y'all did not give a hoots behind who was in y'all's palace as long as they weren't Black. Those people were in there acting up and you aided them against your sister-in-law, against your brother, against your blood. Now, what's all this about your bloodline being so strong now? Your bloodline didn't matter when it came to what's his face, the one that keeps pretending he's a Texan. Y'all know I can't stand Jason Knopf. The bloodline didn't matter when it came to Jason Knopf. But y'all always, and I say y'all, I'm talking to the haters, but y'all always got all this to say, Meghan, you need to love your father because family is family. Okay, well, William, love your brother because family is family. Jason Knopf ain't your brother. Jason Knopf is not your brother. So it's always one-sided. Oh, you can't do your family like that. Oh, okay. Then why were they aiding the tabloids and putting out hit pieces against their own family? I've had my arm around my brother far too long, against his own family. And contrary to William's belief, you're the older brother. So yes, you keep your arm right there. You keep your arm on your brother. I can answer that question for you. You're supposed to have his back. You're supposed to be there for him because he was always there for you. He always had his arm around you. And apparently, allegedly, can't confirm it, but I will say what the rumor is. The fallout happened before Meghan. The tension in y'all's relationship was because you was running around philandering on your wife and Harry wasn't cool with that. But they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about the actual riff, which was, we've been having tension for a while now because we don't align on our morals. We saw what it did to our mother, and then you're doing it to your wife, who I also help support. Oh, but when it's my turn to find happiness, the two of you hussies, and I use that term strongly, the two of you hussies sold me up a river. What happened to Bloodline? What happened to Bloodline? Wore white to her wedding? Yeah. Scowled at the bride on the altar, sent the evil eye at Queen Meghan. Every last one of them heifers. I saw y'all. But good thing she didn't care because the only eye she needed on her was that of her blue-eyed ginger looking at her, staring right into her soul with his love. And that's all I've got to say about it. So that's all I've got to say about it. I hope you enjoyed this week's Sussex Scroll. I definitely enjoyed chatting with you and getting up to date on a few of these topics that are a little bit more lighthearted because I'm going to tell y'all, between Joanna Weiss, Jeremy Clarkson, and Piers Morgan, they've been running your girl ragged, but I'm back. So we're going to keep it a little light as we get prepared for Live to Lead. We also get prepared for the Anderson Cooper interview, and then Spare, we are getting the 1, 2, and 3 punch. So I'm trying to keep it positive. We have a very special royal review tomorrow. It is not like any other royal review that I've done. We're not going to recap any content. I'm actually going to recap all the content from this year. So we're recapping 2022 in our royal review. And then Saturday, of no obligation to be there because I never post on the weekends. But this Saturday, since it's New Year's Eve, I wanted to throw a little New Year's Eve party. So I will be posting on Saturday. So if you want to attend my New Year's Eve party, I have a lot of really fun things. to talk about. We're gonna get all the messiness out before the new year. So be sure to be there because we've got to have a good trashy fun. I'm actually gonna dress up, so feel free to dress up with me. We're gonna have a really good time at our New Year's Eve party. We're also gonna talk about a few really cool things about the New Year's, like what you're supposed to do to bring in some good luck. So we're gonna chat about that, but mostly we're gonna recap some of these royal shenanigans from the year, and then we're also going to get prepared for next year, but we're going to just have really good fun. So I hope to see you there. I really appreciate all of the support and everyone who watches my videos and tunes into my channel. Thank you so much. Feel free to go ahead and like this video if you haven't already. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel and turn on that notification bell. If you're interested in becoming a member, hit the join button. And then if you want to check out my Patreon, where there will be Patreon exclusive videos, go ahead and hit the link in the description box below. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. I will see you Saturday, and I will see you Monday. Bye.